everyone. Welcome to the Seeds of Success podcast, hosted by Dottie San Martin and myself, Orly Rivera. This show is your weekly dose of knowledge, insights, and actionable tips to transform centers into striking successes. Whether you're a seasoned industry professional or just stepping onto the lanes, we've got you covered. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're at. We have Diana and Dottie. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Hello.
Today's episode, Orly, is very, very interesting. And this content for today's show actually was brought to us by Diana. And Diana, I'm going to let you kind of lead off on that. But it's bowling with a purpose and using events to support local causes. I am all in on this subject. So you guys are probably going to have to hold me back because I am ready to go with stuff for this episode because it's so, so important.
It is, Dottie. And it's just, I think we all we love, everybody loves to feel good while having fun. And it's a great way to tie into the community and support local causes.
Yes. And there's so many local causes that would benefit from just a little bit of extra help. And if everybody gives just a little bit, that all adds up to be a lot over the grand scheme of things. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that through your venue.
Yeah. And I think when it comes to, doing things to help other people or other organizations, not every center has did that before, but I think when you think about it, everybody loves something, whether it's helping, a certain type of person that might need help, or maybe it's even something as far as helping animals or, so if you've never did that before, if you think like, oh, what can we do to help someone? If you don't have an idea, I'm sure if you ask someone in your center, someone's going to have something close to their heart that they would like to help. So it's not a tough thing to come up with someone that you can help. And if you don't, and you could always reach out, I'm sure, to your local chamber or someone and say, hey, is there anyone in town that needs help or any kind of organization? So when it comes to coming up with an idea, it's not going to be too hard to find that.
Yeah, for sure, Orly. There's so many opportunities out there. And, the thing is, when you are looking to help an organization, not only is that organization tremendously benefiting from anything that you do for them, but we do a lot of research on Gen Z, Alpha Gen, younger customers too. We always want to stay tuned in to what's important to them and that we are satisfying their needs, right? We want to make our centers inviting to them and attractive to them. And we want them to want to do business with them. And supporting local causes is extremely beneficial for you to get the attention of that younger customer because they are looking to the businesses and the organizations that are supporting causes, and that's who they're choosing to spend their money with. So there's definitely something to be said about, supporting local causes.
Yeah, that's a great point. Along those lines, by showing that you are supporting those causes that mean something to your local community, it's also a great way to get repeat customers because they know that you went out to support that cause that meant so much. So they're going to come back in and support your center.
Yes, that is for sure. It just creates that image, that I care image, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how large or how small your endeavor is. The fact that you have identified that you want to help has a lot of goodwill associated with it, and it is known, right? So some of our listeners probably know I am based out of San Antonio, Texas, and we recently, very near to San Antonio, we went through a catastrophic flood. Many lives were lost. And for me, when you said you wanted to talk about, supporting causes and stuff like that, it has been so refreshing to see the support of the community to help the victims of this massive flood. And it has got social media attention. It has got local news coverage. And just to see, number one, that's just a great message to turn on your TV, which has been flooded with such horrible news. And now you see that the community is reacting. The community is supporting in any way that they can for these victims and their families. And for me, that's great to have that balance and that offset with this horrible tragedy that just happened. But you see all sorts of ways that people are contributing. Recently, there was one little girl that was making cookies and selling cookies. And the cookies were going to help the flood victims and their families. We have local woodworking artisans that are donating caskets that are custom made, right? Whatever the talent is, whatever the ability you have to support a cause, it doesn't matter how large or small, it has a very positive impact on the cause that you're supporting and on the community's perception of you.
Yeah.
So it's just a super, super good way to get that buy-in from your community.
It just makes people feel good that they're helping when they see, sometimes some places have a goal, like this is where we're at. We're almost there. People want to help more. They want to feel like they're part of it. They, and it's not even like a bragging thing. I think they just feel like, oh, I helped, that's cool. We're almost there. Let me go buy some more. Let me go do some more, or drop off some more money, or drop off more water bottles, or whatever the cause may be, and I think it just makes people feel good a lot of times. I think people, I mentioned earlier, like in a center, you might think, how can I help? But I think from even someone just at home, they always wonder like, oh, how can I help? Or I can't help. But, once they go into the grocery store or something, maybe it's rounding up those, a local grocery store around here does a rooster roundup or something. Each month there's a different cause. And whether it's, did you want to round up the 20 cents to, make it an even dollar? And I think that just makes people feel good. And I think even though, like they said, it might not be helping a lot, but it all adds up. And I think it just, it gives an opportunity for other people to help in a way. Somebody might not go down to the Salvation Army and drop something off, but if they're bowling already and you're saying, hey, would you like to round up? Or, hey, 50% of the money today is going to this. It's a way they can help. And I think it's just, it gives everyone a chance to help. I like that.
The other thing is, when you tie it in with getting them to the center and even having an event, like, it's that time of year where kids are getting ready to go back to school. So even if you have like a back to school event and you want to make part of the admission that they donate a school supply item or a backpack or whatever, again, it's a good way to expose your center to the different things that you do.
And I think that's a great way that you can partnership, with, schools or, a local organization and get some goodwill going between the two.
I completely agree. And again, we talk about this a lot. Talk to your staff. Find out what some of the needs are. It doesn't have to necessarily be a local cause. Maybe there's needs within your customers. Maybe there's personal needs. Maybe they've recently gone through a hard time. Maybe they're recently, experiencing a medical and they could use, transportation, or they could use help. Get your staff on board, because you might be surprised. Like I said, it doesn't have to be necessarily a local cause. It maybe could be a center cause, and leverage that. Maybe it's one of your staff members that's going through some personal hardships that they could really use. We, as a bowling community, have always been social. We reference ourselves in many cases as our family, our bowling family. And that's not just in the center. That really goes beyond that, because just as an industry as a whole, I hear it referenced time and time again. Bowling is one big family. We are social. We take care of people, right? And we have great platforms to be able to support those local causes. All right. Well, Diana, do you have any closing thoughts you would like to leave our listeners with?
Just thank you for having me on here, and thank you for talking about this topic. I just feel it's really important, and it's a great way for us to build stronger communities.
100%. 100%. Well, thank you, Diana, for being our guest today. It's always a pleasure. It's always refreshing to hear your ideas, your thoughts, and things that you have experience of executing in the center. Listeners, thank you so much for being a part of today's episode of Seeds of Success. With decades of industry experience, we are honored to share our ideas, our strategies, and trends designed to help entertainment centers just like yours thrive and grow. Together, we're planting the seeds for a stronger, more successful future. Be sure to share our podcast episode with your team and industry friends and subscribe to us. Remember, the more seeds we sow, the greater the harvest. Until next time, let's continue to build success, one happy guest and one incredible experience at a time.